Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, April 30th, and today is AMI Day 28. So today is Thursday, so for today you're going to choose an option for math, an option for science, and then one of those specialty activities to do, and I have no announcements today, so we'll go ahead and get started with your work, and I will share the screen and we'll look at it together. Let me get it pulled up here. Let me adjust everything on my end so we can look at it together. But today is AMI Day 28, and it is Thursday, April 30th. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So it starts with math, and you have a couple options to choose from for math today. That first option is, option one is, compare the following decimals using the less than, greater than, or equal to sign, then explain how you determined the answer. So this is a lot like what we were doing on Tuesday, but we'll go over it. So on number one, I'm gonna have it set to where I can write on the screen here, if it'll let me. So on number one, it is 0.325, and you're comparing it to 0.32. So what you could do to make it a little easier, because remember when we compare decimals, we go place by place and compare each place value. So I'm just going to write them out over here real big. So 0.3, my numbers might not look very good. I'm writing with my finger, and it's kind of hard, so it might not look very good, but we can still line it up. And then the one we're comparing it to is 0.32. So when we compare decimals, we go place by place. So we're going to start, the ones place, those are both zeros. Then we go to the tenths place. That's both threes. The hundredths place, it's both twos. So on this one, we have to go all the way out to the thousandths place in order to compare these two decimals. And so in the thousandths place, we have a 5. And our 0.32 has nothing in the thousandths place. But we know that we can we call it that imaginary 0. We can put that imaginary 0 right there as a placeholder, because there's nothing there. So there's a 0 in the thousandths place because there's nothing there. So then we can compare 5 and 0. So we know that 5 is more than 0. Having 5 apples means you have more than if you had 0 apples. So 5 is more than 0. So we're going to come back over here to our problem that says 0.325, and we're comparing it to 0.32. And remember, our little alligator shape wants to face the bigger number. And because 5 thousandths is bigger than 0 thousandths, we'll even try to put a little tiny 0 there. That's our imaginary 0. We know that we're going to put the greater than sign, because 0.325 is greater than 0.32. And we can imagine it with that 0 at the end, 0.320. So 0.325 is greater than 0.32. So that's how we would solve the first one. And we'll go ahead and we'll do the next one together. So let me see if I can erase all my writing on the screen fairly easily. So the next one is 1.461, and you're comparing it to 3.002. So we're going to do it the same way again. We're going to line up our decimal points for both of those so that we line up all the place values. So we have 1.461, and then we have 3.002. And so we've lined them up, and I lined up both of those numbers. I lined up the decimal points so that all the place values are lined up. So we're going to start with the first place value. We're going to start in the ones place on the left to the left of our decimal point. So we're going to start in the ones place, which is right here. Here's our ones. And the first number has a 1 in the ones place. The second number has a 3 in the ones place. So we can stop right there at the ones place and compare those numbers. We know that 1 is less than 3. So we're going to go over here and we're going to say 1.461 is less than 3.002. because we know that 1 is less than 3. So we're going to make our little alligator mouth face the bigger number. And that's just that right there is the less than symbol. So 1.461 is less than 3.002. And that's all you have to do. So if it makes it easier for you, write out your numbers, stack them up, line up those decimal points, and go place by place and compare the numbers. And then remember your little, I call it the little alligator mouth. The alligator mouth wants to face the bigger number. Or if the numbers are exactly the same, you're going to put that equal sign. Whoops. Let me find my eraser and erase all this. So that is option 1 for math. You're going to do 1 through 10 using that greater than, less than, or equal to sign, comparing those decimals, and then it tells you to explain how you determine your answer. You could say something as simple as 3 is greater than 1 for number 2. And for number 1, you can say 5 thousandths is greater than 0 thousandths. So something as simple as that to explain how you determine your answer. Then you have a couple other options that you could choose to do. You could choose to do option 2, which is to log into iStation Math and work on the math section for 30 minutes. If you're completely done, if by chance you are completely done with iStation Math and you're just playing those extra games at the end, you can, instead of logging on to iStation Math, you can log on to Freckle Math, ST Math, Prodigy. You could even do Prodigy or Extra Math. If you need passwords for any of those, message me and let me know and I can get you those passwords. But the most important thing is that you just log on to an online math program if you choose to do option 2 and you work for 30 minutes. So if you choose to do iStation Math, do it for 30 minutes, or you could do ST Math, Freckle Math, Prodigy, Extra Math. Any of those that you do, I'm going to get a report of the time that you spend on it. So just log on and work for 30 minutes. That's if you choose to do option 2. Option 3 is to go to this PBS link right here and choose a video according to the age or grade level. So that's going to take you to the PBS website, and it's going to take you to the math section of their website. At the top, there's a little bar, and it gives you an option to filter by. You'll click that box, scroll down to 5, choose that, and you'll filter it by 5 for 5th grade. And you'll choose any of those 5th grade math videos to watch. Just do whatever the video asks you to do and follow along with the video. Or it also says you could watch the appropriate grade level programming on PBS television. So if you have the PBS station available on your television, you can watch any grade level appropriate program that they are showing on that television channel. And it says to complete one activity from the attached PBS packet. So if you have the actual physical AMI packet that you picked up at Tate, then attached to the back of it, it may feel a little bigger, attached to the back of it is that PBS packet. You're just going to choose one of those activities to do, and that would count as your option 3 for math. And then after you choose a math option today, you're going to choose a science option. So it says, please choose at least one of the following options. So you just have to choose one option for math, and then you choose one option for science. So some options that you have for science today are option 1. It says, use the following sheet to identify 2 different food chains located within the food web, provided on the next page. Remember, a food chain is simpler and less complex than a food web. Your food chain must include 3 organisms and must show the flow of energy from prey to predator. Write your answers on a separate sheet of paper. So it gives you an example. You start with the grasshopper. The grasshopper is eaten by the mouse, and then the mouse is eaten by the hawk. So I'm going to show you the flow of energy. It always flows up. So it starts with the predator and flows up, or it starts with the prey, what's being eaten, and flows up to the predator, because that's how the predator is getting his energy, from all that prey. So start with the grasshopper. I'm going to write it on the bottom of my board here. Grasshopper. The energy flows up, so my arrow is going to be pointing up. The energy in a food chain does not flow down, it flows up. So then the energy flows up to the mouse, because the mouse ate the grasshopper and got that energy. Then the energy flows up to the hawk because the hawk is getting the energy from eating the mouse. So you'll have to look at my little video box because I'm also still showing the screen. Actually, I'll stop my share to show you for a second. So here is your flow of energy. Remember, the energy flows up in a food chain. So our food chain starts here at the bottom with the grasshopper. The grasshopper is eaten by a mouse, so the energy from the grasshopper flows up to the mouse. Then the mouse is eaten by the hawk, so the energy flows up from the mouse to the hawk. So the energy always flows from the prey to the predator, because the predator is the hawk. A predator is what's eating another animal. So the predator is getting the energy from the prey. The prey is what's been eaten. So it starts at the bottom with the prey, and the energy flows up to the predator because the predator is getting his energy from the prey. So that's how you would write a food chain. And I'll go ahead and share the screen again, and we'll look at that chart that gives you a food web to choose those food chains from. So it says, use the following sheet to identify 2 different food chains. So you're going to make 2 different food chains. It can be as simple as this, where I started with grasshopper, then I went to mouse, then I went to hawk. So it can be as simple as that. It has to have at least 3 different organisms. So that one had 3 different organisms. It had the grasshopper, the mouse, and the hawk. So it says 2 different food chains located within the food web provided. So it's going to be a picture of a food web, and you're going to find 3 different chains within that web. And it says, remember, a food chain is simpler and less complex than a food web. Your food chain must include 3 organisms and show the flow of energy from prey to predator. So write the answers on a separate sheet of paper. So it could be something as simple as grasshopper, mouse, hawk. So that's how you're going to write it out, grasshopper, mouse, hawk, because the energy is flowing from the prey, the grasshopper, all the way up to the predator, which is the hawk. So let's scroll down and look at the food web that it gives you. And it gives you an example of a food chain. So food chains always start with the sun because like plants, all the plants and all the trees and everything like that get its energy from the sun. So all food chains can start with the sun because and it flows up. So the plant is getting its energy from the sun. Then the plant is eaten by the grasshopper. So the grasshopper gets that energy. Then the grasshopper is eaten by the mouse. So the mouse gets that energy. And then the mouse is eaten by the owl. So the owl gets that energy. It flows from the prey to the predator. So for instance, the plant is the prey of a predator grasshopper. The grasshopper is prey to the predator mouse. The mouse is prey to the predator owl. And all plants get their energy from the sun. So you can always start your food chain with the sun. Then it gives you a food web. So it's multiple paths of energy. A food web includes many food chains that are connected to one another. It shows that most animals eat and are eaten by more than one species. So we could look, and you have to pick 3 different food chains that you see from here. So a food web is just a bunch of connected food chains. So you're going to choose 3 of the food chains that are coming from this food web, and you're going to write them down. So you could say, here you can see, here's grass, and it's being eaten by the grasshopper. So you'd say grass, grasshopper, and then look, frogs eat grasshoppers, but what else also eats grasshoppers? Foxes also eat grasshoppers, mice eat grasshoppers, and I think this is maybe like a rat. So it's a different type of animal. So lots of different animals eat grasshoppers. So your food chain could be grass, grasshopper, frog. There's a food chain. Grass, grasshopper, fox. That's another food chain. Or you could say, we would start it with, let's start it with worms. So you have a worm. So worms are eaten by a bird. I'm not sure what kind of bird that is, so we'll say a bird. So worms are eaten by the bird, and then the bird is eaten by the owl. So your food chain would be worm, bird, owl. Worm, bird, owl. Or you could say tree, or you could start it with the sun, and then the tree is getting its energy from the sun. So it'd be sun, tree, and then the deer eats the leaves from the tree. So it'd be sun, tree, deer. That would be a food chain. So you're just picking the different food chains that make up this food web, and you follow the flow of energy. So it flows up, energy flows up. So the grass, the energy from the grass is flowing up to the grasshopper because the grasshopper ate it. And then the energy is flowing up to this bird because the bird ate the grasshopper. So follow the arrows up. Or if it's pointing down, so flies fly in the air, so a fly is up here and the frog's on the ground. So the fly, the energy flows from the fly to the frog because the frog is going to eat the fly. So just pick 3 of those food chains that make up that food web and write those down. And remember that the flow of energy is from the prey up to the predator. Okay, and so that's option 1 for science. And then you could choose to do option 2 for science. So option 2 for science today is go outside and find an example of a food chain, or think of other examples of organisms not found in your own backyard that demonstrate a feeding relationship from prey to predator. Record this on a sheet of paper. You must include at least 3 different organisms. So anytime you're writing down a food chain for either of these options, it has to have at least 3 organisms. You could say sun, grass, and then a deer. You might not see a deer in your backyard, but we know that deer eat grass. So you could say sun, grass, deer. And that would be your 3 organisms in your food chain. Sun, grass, deer. And it flows up from prey to predator. The sun is not necessarily prey, but the grass is getting the energy from the sun. So sun, grass, deer. Okay? So go outside and find examples of a food chain, or think of other examples of organisms not found in your own backyard that demonstrate a feeding relationship from prey to predator. Record this on a sheet of paper. You must include at least 3 different organisms. Use arrows to show the flow of energy from one organism to the other. Remember that energy flows from the prey, the organism being eaten, to the predator, the organism eating another organism. Example, grass, rabbit, coyote. So you're gonna go outside, you're gonna look at what's out there, and think of 3 different food chains that you could come up with. And maybe think of other things that are out in nature that might not be in your backyard, but are part of a food chain, part of things being eaten. For the example, grass, we all have grass in our yard. Rabbit, you may have a rabbit in your backyard, but you probably don't have a coyote in your backyard. So you just have to think, okay, grass, a rabbit eats grass, so the energy flows to the rabbit. And then, okay, what would eat a rabbit? A coyote. Okay? So that is option 2. Go outside, think about how you could find food chains out in nature, in your backyard, and write 3 different food chains. So option 1, you're going to write 3 food chains from that diagram. Option 2, you're going to go outside and think of different food chains that you could find and write 3 food chains down that include at least 3 organisms. And you can start with the sun. You could say sun, grass, and then what eats grass? Rabbit. So it could be as simple as that. So that's if you choose to do option 2 for science today. And then to end your AMI work for today, you have to choose a specialty activity. So for PE, it says go on a walk with your family. Try to walk for 30 minutes. So once again, that kind of goes with your science. If you choose to do option 1 for science and go outside and find examples of food chains, do that while you're on a walk with your family and you've done PE and science at the same time. So PE is to go on a walk with your family for at least 30 minutes. So then you have music. So music today, if you choose to do music, is read or sing all the verses of our national anthem. So our national anthem is the Star Spangled Banner. So you can either just read it or you can try and sing it. So there's verse 1, verse 2. We mostly know verse 1. Whenever you go to a football game or a basketball game and you hear someone sing the national anthem, they are just singing verse 1 of the national anthem, but that's not all that there is to it. There's more verses. So when you hear people sing the national anthem, they're just singing verse 1. Verse 1 is what we know and what we're used to. But there's also verse 2, verse 3, verse 4. So they are 4 verses to our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. The one we're used to and the one we hear all the time is just verse 1. So for music today, if you choose to do music, you're going to read all 4 verses or try to sing all 4 verses of our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. So that's if you choose music today, or you could choose to do art today. So for art, you have a couple of options. Option 1 is to write and decorate a card of encouragement to share with someone in your family. So you're just going to create a card of encouragement to someone in your family, give it to them. Maybe you're writing it to your grandparents that you aren't able to see right now. Make them a card, go and put it in their mailbox so that when they go to check the mail, they have a card of encouragement from you. Just say, I'm thinking of you. I hope you're doing well. I'm praying for you. Anything like that. Just write a card, decorate it, color it, have fun with it, send it to someone in your family. Or you can choose to do option 2, which is click on the first link below to see the lesson to create a mixed up animal. The second link is a copy of the animal work pages. So you're going to follow this link here, and it takes you to a PDF. And the PDF is going to give you instructions for how to create the mixed up animal. And then this second link here is an animal sketch handout. So that's just the work pages that go along with it. So just follow along with the instructions from the first link. And then the second link gives you those PDF pages of more of how to create it and some of the resources to use to create the mixed up animal. So that's if you choose to do option 2 for art. And that is all of your AMI work today. All you're doing is choosing an option for math, and then you choose one option for science, and then you do one of those specialty activities, PE, music, or art, and then you're done for today. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are pretty simple. You just have math, science, and a specialty activity. So we do not have a Zoom meeting today because it is Thursday. We will have a Zoom meeting tomorrow to continue our read aloud of the Graveyard Book. And tomorrow is Fun Friday, so we will be playing that game tomorrow. So if you join us for our read aloud tomorrow on Zoom, we will play our Fun Friday game first, and whoever wins our Fun Friday game, I will mail you a prize. I will send it to you. You'll give me your address, and I will send you a prize in the mail. So it's always fun to receive something fun in the mail. So if you win our Fun Friday game, you'll be getting a prize in the mail from me. So that is tomorrow. We do not have a Zoom meeting today. So it gives you plenty of time to work on your AMI work for today. But as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to wash your hands. And remember that I love you guys and I miss you guys so much. If you need anything, please contact me, message me, let me know, and I'll help you in any way that I can. I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful Thursday. And I hope this video helps. If you have any more questions, please message me.